Hello, everybody. It's Jim Capuano and TJ Troup. Welcome to the Week 14 edition of the College Football Podcast from collegepressbox.com. We are sponsored by Cheez-It and Pop-Tarts. Thanks to our good friends at both those companies for sponsoring this podcast and allowing us to spend a little time with you. And thanks for joining us. My co-host, as always, is TJ Troup. TJ is a football expert. He's a former player of the game, a coach of the game, a historian, and author of 3 books on the game of football, a weekly contributor to the Pro Football Journal, and he is a true expert. When I say expert, I mean expert on all facets of the game of football, from the X's and O's to the execution, to the psychology, the emotions, and just the whole experience of playing football and winning at a high level. TJ, thank you for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. How you doing?
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Jim. I'm doing real well. I'd like to start off with what I observed this morning.
Okay.
I saw a few turkeys running down the street, and it looked like they were being chased by the ghost of John Madden, and he was hoping to make them into a turducken.
Oh, man. That's the way to go if you're a turkey, right? Go out in style. But I love it. That's good stuff. Have you had a turducken in your life, TJ?
I have not.
I have not either, but going out, if you're a turkey and your days are numbered, might as well go out with a friend, right? Make a good turducken and land on John Madden's table. Not a bad way to go, right?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. Let's talk about last week. We'll dive right in with the Cheez-It Crunch Time Play of the Week, and that is going to take us out to Utah, where the Utes rallied, and they had to rally furiously to take down Kansas State. The Utes are playing basically a de facto playoff game. If they lost, they were going to be out, and they managed to win. They were trailing 47-35, and the Kansas State Jayhawks, when they failed on a 2-point conversion that actually turned into 2 points for Utah, ball was tipped in the end zone and picked off, and instead of it going 49-35 for Kansas State, it was 47-37 Kansas State, because Utah picked that ball off and went for a 2-point conversion, returning about 105 yards. And then from there, they rallied to win the game on this play. Let me bring the play up, and then you could break down what you saw on the play and in the actual game itself, TJ, all right?
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Dampier keeps it. Dampier, touchdown, Utah!
Yeah, Devin Dampier with a 1-yard touchdown run to ice the game. Well, not ice it, but put them up 50-47. The extra point made it 51-47. What did you see really on this play, and actually in that entire fourth quarter there for the Utah Utes?
Well, as you so astutely pointed out, they're behind, and they have to rally. And when they get down there, I mean, it may look like a fairly easy 1-yard touchdown run, but let's give all the credit to the offensive line of Utah. That was a sure fine blocking at the point of attack, and he just thunders into the end zone.
Yeah, he sure does, and that was just an incredible comeback by the Utes. I mean, what else? I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, that was a crunch time play of the week. There were a lot of other good candidates, but to me, that failed 2-point conversion by the Wildcats of Kansas State that led to 2 points when Teo Johnson picked it off and ran the length of the field for Utah. To me, that kind of changed the whole tempo of the game. And just talk a little bit about as a coach, what you see, how you feel when you're on the field. You see your boys doing that and fighting the good fight with 7 minutes to go at home, and really the season on the line. Uh, do you think that was like the linchpin of the game and turning point of the game?
Yes, sir. When he was running down the field, you can imagine the emotion starting to rise on the sideline from his teammates. And they're thinking, if we want to go back to Mr. Cosell, he could go all the way. And guess what? He is about to go all the way. And it not only fires up the players, but it brings about a unification factor because everybody on that sideline is going, wow, he made that play. Now what can I do to contribute and help my teammates?
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah. Congrats to the Utes. This week's Cheez It Crunch Time Play of the Week. All right, TJ. What other games from last week caught your eye? I know you had a couple that you were looking forward to watching. Let's dive into those a little bit.
Well, let's go to, it still sounds so funny to say, SC and Oregon playing in the Big Ten.
Okay.
I really felt that SC would really have to show something with defensively, especially in their front seven. So I'm going to dive right in.
Okay.
It didn't happen.
Mm.
We have Brad Nessler, excellent announcer, and his compadre, who I believe does it just a superb job, and Gary Danielson. And isn't so much that he's critical. He's just talking about what coaches would see. And that is on that first touchdown. Number 18, Eric Gentry of SC is just slow to react. And that's what he stated.
Mm.
And he was joined by Stevens and Williams. And I've got down here in my notes, missed tackle, penalty, terrible, slow to react, those type of things. So SC did not play a very strong game defensively. Now, part of it, of course, is Oregon knows how to advance the ball. I mean, he gained 179 yards rushing. But yet the one stat that stood out to me in the game, SC was penalized 8 times for 103 yards. But the Ducks go, well, we can be just as naughty as you guys.
Uh-huh.
They were penalized 11 times for 130 yards.
Yeah.
So the penalties made the game longer, but it also kept Oregon from completely dominating the game.
Mm.
Now, SC's passing attack, that was their saving grace. They stayed in the game due to gaining 330 yards in the air. He's a fine, fine passer. And their receiver, he threw it to a handful of different guys. That kept them in there. But there was no doubt as the game went on that the best team was Oregon. And now let's go to the positive. There was not one starting defender for Oregon that had a poor game. I have check marks in the boxes, pluses down there. I mean, they rallied to the ball. Interceptions, they just played very well. In fact, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. I'm going to say Bryce Bocher, the linebacker for Oregon. He really had a fine game.
He did.
But he was not alone.
Yeah.
He was not alone. He had a lot of help from his teammates. That's always fun in the film room when so many guys are playing well and you get to praise and watch that done right in front of you.
Yep. And Bryce also had a touchdown. He was in the backfield, took a shotgun snap and scored from 1 yard out. So he was doing a little bit of damage on both sides of the ball there. So I happened to watch Coach Lanning's press conference, and he talked about that. Bryce, even though he's a linebacker, always wants the ball and on offense, and so they installed this play a while ago, and they finally had a chance to run it on offense in senior day, and he is a senior. So good on Coach Lanning for making that happen and making it extra special for Bryce and the Ducks. But you're right. I mean, the Ducks defense really showed up, and that's quite a contrast, isn't it, from about maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago when the Ducks were home again and pretty much got whooped a little bit on defense by the Hoosiers when Indiana took them down to end their home winning streak up in Autzen Stadium. So what what do you see as a progression from Oregon? I mean, what do you attribute that to from where they were with Indiana and now here against SC?
Well, we have the actual cliches of we're not going to let this happen again. We're at home. We're tougher than that. But now it's time to improve. And basically, that's where we're at. The Ducks defense, to a man, they look better. And I mean, obviously they want to peak in January, not in November.
Right.
And it sure looks like that is possible.
Yep.
And the physicality at the end of the Indiana game, I mean, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
You're at home and getting just blocked and you're not making a play. Well, that did not happen against the Trojans. So all the credit to the Ducks. He's a hell of a guy and a hell of a coach. And you stated it about in the press conference. I'm sure he was, though he's not going to come out with a big smile on his face. That's not his style. He sure is going to be able to say all the right things and feel good inside about what his little Ducks did there at home.
Yeah. And he also commented about the penalties. He thought that they could handle their emotions better, and hopefully that'll be a learning point for them. So, always trying to coach up your guys, right, TJ?
Absolutely. And there's always something you can find. I mean, there's coaches there's players that have stated, we beat this team by 35 points, and this coach rolls this scroll's worth of paper down on the floor with all the mistakes we made. So and it's not to be critical as much as you can't let it go. If you're going to be successful, you have to point out, well, you need to react quicker on this. This is how you defeat this block. You need to be in this area on pass defense, that type of thing, because the obvious word that every coach loves to hear is improvement.
Right. Absolutely. No doubt. Yep. You always got to get better, right?
Always got to get better.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you very much on that, TJ. Any other games from last week that you wanna kick around?
Well, just a little bit. I was able to see a little bit of SMU, and there's a writer online who made a comment, which kind of fits in for the rest of the year, but it's dealing more with the ACC with the Georgia Tech loss. It says, this truly is becoming a massive headache, meaning who survives in that conference.
Yeah.
And we still are not sure. I believe there's a handful of teams that can still win the ACC. But as it stands and as I saw watching them play, SMU and Mr. Jennings, they're the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem like they've put it together. And, they seem like the team to beat now in the ACC. But that has been a wild, wild ride all season long. And speaking of wild rides, let's talk about something that was a bit of a throwback game, and that is this week's recipient, and the second time of this year that the Yale Bulldogs out of the Ivy League have earned the designation as the Pop-Tarts Crazy Good Team of the Week, with their actually really destroying the Harvard Crimson 45-28 to claim a share of the Ivy League championship and also get the Ivy League's first automatic berth into the football championship subdivision postseason. So the Bulldogs, 141st edition of the game. So able to take care of business against the Crimson. What's your take on this game here? The game of Yale taking down Harvard 45-28 as the Crazy Good Team of the Week.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, 141 times. So we can actually classify this one as a rivalry with a capital R.
Uh-huh.
I need to interject on a personal level. I was contacted this week and asked flat out if I was teammates with Walter Camp back in 1888, and I had to address that and state emphatically that no, Walter Camp and me were not teammates, but I have respected the long success of Yale.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for clarifying that. I did get an email about that, and I wasn't sure how to answer, so now I can respond. Thank you very much. And so the game itself. What did you see in this game?
Well, it's almost a carbon copy and very similar to what Signetti does at Indiana. We are not going to get the ball to all these different players. I mean, Dante Reno, 15-19. I mean, that's terrific. 3 touchdowns, and he sure had help from Nico Brown. 8 catches, 189 yards.
Yeah.
But without a doubt, the player for Yale, and of course, I'm sure he took his offensive lineman out for a couple of burgers. This was the Josh Pitzenberger show.
Yeah.
38 carries for 143 yards. Hey, this reminds me of the days of Jim Brown. And the other part is Mr. Pitzenberger's longest run was 11 yards. So you talk about pounding the ball and lugging the leather. Mr. Pitzenberger sure did that all afternoon.
Yeah, they did grind it out. You're right. I mean, Reno threw the ball up in the air 19 times, completing 15 of them for 273 yards. That is a great ratio on, yards per completion. Outstanding. But it was the Pitzenberger show. They grinded out in 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and that's appropriate, right, for a game with this kind of history?
Absolutely. Walter Camp was probably smiling from football heaven.
Yeah, right next to Woody Hayes, right? So, yeah.
Right next to Woody Hayes and Tom Osborne, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Awesome stuff, TJ. Thank you. So, the Bulldogs of Yale are the crazy good team of the week. All right, TJ, we're rolling into week 14. We have Thanksgiving coming up. What's on your football plate this week to watch?
Friday night, again, traditional rivals. We have the Aggies of Texas A&M at Texas. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Sarkisian would be a positive note for them, and hopefully getting a bowl game will be for Texas to get a victory. And it's not that they're not capable of winning, but the Longhorns sure have their hands full, because Texas A&M, as I've stated emphatically a couple of times this year, they are the real deal. So I'll be watching that one Friday night. And then noon on Saturday, we have the Buckeyes and the Wolverines, which will take me back real briefly to a comment I read in the Chicago Tribune back when I was playing college football in the early 70s. Uh-huh. There was a headline in it, and it called the Big Ten, and they didn't call it the Big Ten. They called it the Big Two and the Little Eight.
Uh-huh.
So it's been Michigan and Ohio State pretty much, with few exceptions, for all these years.
Yeah.
And we know that the last 4 years, the Wolverines have gotten the better of the Buckeyes. So Coach Day and all those players, it's one of those, we need to stop this, and we need to stop this right now. So going to the Big House, I mean, how many places can actually name their stadium the Big House? And I think they might be rocking and rolling a little bit on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the Buckeyes go into the Big House, and I believe they are going to take care of business to continue on their quest to see if they can defend their national title.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, looking at, schedule matters somewhat right here. I mean, it doesn't always define the team, but if you look at Michigan's schedule, it's been, they lost a road game in game 2 to Oklahoma, and then they lost at USC, but at home they've taken care of business, but not by, I would say not in impressive fashion, right? I mean, Purdue, they beat 21-16. They haven't been remarkable at home like what we're used to from Big Blue, and I don't see how the Buckeyes can. I mean, I just think the Buckeyes have last year's game on their mind. I mean, to what extent, if you're a coach, do you use last year's outcome where the Wolverines went down to Columbus and took care of business against Ohio State? It didn't derail them from winning the national championship, but did spoil a perfect season. What do you see? What do you say as a coach? Does it really matter, if they lost last year or not? If you're a Buckeye player?
Well, you hear it and you address it during the week, but once the ball is kicked off, it's let's go play football.
Yeah.
So but what has to be enforced during the game is, for sake of discussion, let's say that the Buckeyes are playing well. You just keep telling them, go make another play, go make another play, go get another first down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what they got to do. It's play by play, right? So it's like any other game. You just got to play the game, right?
Yes, sir. And of course, again, I mean, I think it's approximately 106,000. I mean, there might be a few folks there in maize and blue in that stadium there in Ann Arbor cheering for their Wolverines, and with their long, successful history, they're going to be cheering no matter what we got going.
Yeah.
Who's on the field?
Yeah.
But they're just not as good this year as teams in the past, and the Buckeyes are, again, very, very strong, especially defensively. So this would be a monumental upset. I mean, 5 years in a row. Wow. Talk about a statement victory for the Wolverines. So for me, it's must see, as it is almost every year.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. All right. Thanks, TJ. Let's talk about anything else on your mind. We usually kick around the NFL a little bit. Anything you want to share about the National Football League?
Well, as the folks out there, if they do go to the Pro Football Journal, I talk about a stat that I got online that I can take to another level about Matthew Stafford and the Rams, which is really interesting. But rather than talk about the different teams, which no doubt down the road I'll be doing that, I'd like to very briefly discuss a book that I read cover to cover in one afternoon.
Okay.
It's called The 1963 Chicago Bears, George Halas and the Road to the NFL Championship by Charles N. Billington. Now, everybody who follows pro football has a team they cheer for, and probably since they were little on. Well, the 63 Bears are my favorite team of all time. And this man did a very, very impressive job in capturing the essence of what led up to this season and what happened, especially during that season. And just very briefly, the 62 Packers, as I discussed with Steve Sable more than once, remain one of the handful of truly great teams of all time. There was no doubt, after beating the Bears compositely in 62, 87-7.
Wow.
What was the outlook for the Bears going into 63? And George Allen resurrects the Bear defense. He's taken over for Shaughnessy, and they beat Green Bay twice. And his defense was magnificent, but there's a lot of other positive contributing factors. So the book is very well written. It has a real strong flow to it, and they're my team. So you can imagine, I couldn't put it down.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a picture of it up here. Picture of good old number 35 carrying the ball on the cover here. George Halas and the Road to the NFL Championship, the 1963 Chicago Bears by Charles N. Billington. Now, TJ, I'm going to put you on the spot. I have no idea who number 35 was on the 1963 Bears. Do you?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to go to a little comedy.
Okay.
Because he was, I'm going to say number one. I'm not sure about TV rating. When you were on Ed Sullivan, and he would have pro football players, Ed Sullivan liked football players. He would have them in the audience and just introduce them. They'd stand very gracious, coat and tie, and just kind of bow and just, they're being clapped for. And he did this often. Well, number 35 for the Bears is their stud fullback, Rick Caceres.
Rick Caceres, okay.
Rick Caceres, all kinds of legendary stories on him. And Ed Sullivan, either they didn't prep him or he didn't read the script correctly, because when he introduces him, he calls him Rick Caceres. So I'm sitting there as a kid, and I just busted out laughing.
They got a really big shoe here. Here's Rick Caceres.
Rick Caceres. And again, as quickly as possible, Caceres was a legendary tough guy. I mean, you hear Ditka had a couple of classic stories about Caceres. Caceres lied in filling out this form, and at the age of 16 in the state of Florida, entered the Golden Gloves boxing championship and won the heavyweight title.
Wow.
At 16.
Jeez.
So we're not talking about just your average high school kid.
Yeah.
This was one tough guy.
Wow. Okay. I love it. All right. So that'd be a good Christmas gift. The 1963 Chicago Bears, George Halas, and the Road to the NFL Championship by Charles Billington. Awesome, TJ. Anything else in the world of football that is on your mind?
Well, I think we're all going to have, no matter if you're a football fan or not, on Thanksgiving, I hope everybody has a blessed holiday, and we know there's going to be countless televisions in America showing football on Thursday. And it starts with legendary old-time rivals, Packers and Lions.
Yep. Yeah, some fascinating games this week. Packers and Lions, an NFC North matchup. And then on Black Friday, your beloved cuddly Chicago Bears take their first place and their winning streak out to the city of brotherly love and take on the Eagles. That should be a heck of a good matchup, huh?
Absolutely. I'm not sure how much brotherly love the Bears players are going to feel from the Eagle defenders on Friday.
Yeah, that's going to be that'll be an interesting game. We'll see. We'll see what we shall see. TJ, thank you very much. Again, happy Thanksgiving to you. And folks, thanks for joining us. That's a wrap for this week. Again, thanks to our friends at Cheez-It Pop-Tarts for sponsoring the College Football Podcast from collegepressbox.com. You all take care of each other. Be well, be safe. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week. So long, everybody.